welcome to NAPOD, where we provide NA speaker meetings and workshops in a podcast. We are an ad-free podcast, and if you enjoy listening, please help us to be self-supporting by visiting napod.xyz, look for the donate link, and drop $1 or $2 in the virtual basket. If you're also in AA or have friends that are, please tell them about our other podcast, Sobercast. Sobercast features AA speakers and workshops in the same format as NAPOD. We upload a new speaker every day, and it's easy to subscribe by searching for Sobercast, that's 2 words, on any podcast player app, or go to Sobercast.com. Enjoy the podcast, and thanks for listening.
Great, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Rachael, I'm an addict. And it's really good to be here tonight. Can I hold it rather than sit forwards the whole time? All right, let's get comfy. I just took a quick second to basically pray and and ask God to deliver the message of recovery rather than me giving a message of my ego or what I think, you want to hear. And because that's what I did when I came to recovery. I just thought that I just have to share what you wanted to hear, and then I'd be accepted. And at the same time, I told myself that I didn't really care. I said I used to tell myself that I didn't care if I didn't have friends, and I didn't care that if people didn't like me. I just told myself that stuff because then it wouldn't hurt as much. And I got clean really, really young, and I picked up my first drug, which was a drink, and at the time, so what's it? Oh, sorry. That's a bit better. And I had my first drink when I was 8, and my grandma poured me a can of beer into this glass, and I can remember she left, I had a few sips, and she left the room, and I quickly kind of grabbed the can and poured more into the glass, and, and I was only 8, but I sort of had this, this want for more, even that young, and I grew up in a pretty good home. I had good parents. I was taught right from wrong. I wasn't allowed to, put my elbows on the table when I ate dinner, I was taught good morals and all that sort of thing, and what happened to me was I faced some challenges early on in my life, and by the time I was 13, I was really disconnected from people. I found it really difficult to have relationships with girls and friendships. I just felt really fearful of being judged, so I just always hung out with the boys, and I was sort of more of a tomboy anyway, so I kind of naturally was found it was easy to make friends with guys, and I always felt really different. And when I was 13, I had my first smoke of weed, and I knew pretty much from the get-go that there was something. I didn't know I was an addict, but I knew that there was something not right. I knew that I wasn't really normal, because I had a joint or something at a party, and then within a week, I wanted to go again. I wanted to see these same people, and I wanted to get high again, and I think within 3 months later, I was teenager, getting out of my bed in the middle of the night, having my bong and going behind the garage and smoking, and then going back to bed, and it was really quick that it was just meant to be this social fun thing, and here I am, 13 years of age, behind my garage, smoking weed, and I'm just a teenager, and there was no friends around, there was no one around there. I was just doing it just for one purpose only, and that was the purpose to change the way that I felt. And I think the first indication I ever got, though, was I still remember I was sitting at this party, and we're in a garage, because that's what you do when you hang out in bloody garages, because that's how cool using is, And so in this garage, and sitting around in this circle, and someone had a bong, and everyone's sort of laughing, and they're all relaxed, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm counting how many people it is, till my turn, I'm just counting, okay, 5 people are going to get the bong, or like 4 people are going to get the bong, and I'm just not even listening to what everyone is talking. I'm just thinking, why can't you just have it and then just pass it? Like I was so anxious, I couldn't just sit there and have a nice night. Like I didn't even care. Like all I wanted was it to go around, so it was my turn, so I could, continue to get stoned. And it was. I guess I thought that drugs was a social thing, but it was really antisocial. Really, all I wanted to do was use and use alone, because that meant that I could use as much as I wanted and I didn't have to share with anyone. And for me, my mum used to always tell me that marijuana was the gateway drug, and I used to always tell her that she was wrong, and she used to always tell me that mothers are always right, and she won. And before I knew it, I was 17 years of age. I had a needle in one arm and a bottle of port in the other, and my life was a complete and utter mess. And I told myself I didn't care. And I tried my absolute best. I started seeing a drug and alcohol counsellor when I was about 15, and all they did was try harm in, and I just went and saw them and spoke for an hour, and then went home with about 30,000 herbal tablets in one of these little boxes that, elderly people take. Like Monday I take these green ones, and then Tuesday I take vitamin B, and then, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to fix my life. And if I just smoke a gram, then you'll be okay. Like my counsellor used to say, just try and have like 1 gram. And looking back, I can definitely see why that didn't all work. But I still turned up. I guess I still kind of wanted a better life. But I just couldn't get it. And I used to try and tell myself that I chose to take drugs, that I wasn't an addict because I chose to take drugs. And then one day I just thought, if I chose to take drugs, how come I couldn't choose to stop? And that one got me. And it didn't matter how hard I tried, or what important thing I had on. Drugs always came preference in my life. And before I knew it, my relationships around me were getting destroyed. My schooling was going down the drain. All my friends I had disassociated with, I was only hanging out with older men in cars. And the drugs and the people got danger, that's the word, got more dangerous. And I was just in this, just whirlpool of life, just going down the toilet. And I had no idea how to get out of it, absolutely no idea. And as I said, I tried alcohol and drug counselling. I tried, stopping different drugs. I tried absolutely everything. I went to counsellors. My parents kept trying to kick me out of home, and threaten me, and and then I'd go to the therapist or whatever to try and see if I could turn it around. And I don't know, the longest I lasted was I told myself if I could get to 100 days, then I wasn't an addict. That was this rule. So I made up this calendar, and I'd tick it every day, my mum. And I got to 90, and I lied and said I got to 100, and then 100 I went out to have a celebration drink. And I got absolutely shit-faced, and then came home and then spent the night in a shower. And that was, me proving that I wasn't an addict. And my mum obviously didn't believe me. And so basically drugs took me to a place that I never thought that I would go. I became a person that I never thought that I would be. I lied to absolutely everyone in my life. And I think the one thing that broke me the most was that my own word meant absolutely nothing. Meant nothing. It didn't matter how important a relationship was. It didn't matter how much my mum begged me or someone begged me, or how important something was that I should turn up to it. If I hadn't used and I needed to go and use, I would just make an excuse. I'd try and get there later, but if I couldn't get there, just tough shit, because I had to use a drug. And I became so self-centered and so self-seeking, and no wonder I had no real relationships left. And what happened for me is my dad got really sick, and my mum sort of stopped paying attention to me and started concentrating on him, and just said, if you want to go destroy your life, that's fine, but I've got someone else to look after who actually needs the help. that kind of led me down this pathway of just going absolutely crazy and using as much as I possibly could. And I basically just broke. I broke, and I rang a cousin who I'd never talked to, and I rang her and I told her that I was using needles and I was in big shit and I really needed to get my life together. And the next day I went to school, and I saw this teacher like in the courtyard, and she saw me and she said, like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, actually, I'm a drug addict and I use needles." She's like, "Oh, yeah, you better come with me." And so we waltzed to the coordinator's office, and that was a long chat. And that night, I went back to my cousins, and they organised for me to speak to my parents. My parents came over. They had no idea what I was going to say. My dad thought I would say I was pregnant. My mum thought drugs had become, a drug issue again. And I just sat down. I looked them both in the face, and I said, I'm using needles, and I really, really need help. And because they had no idea it was that bad. They knew, I did drugs, but they didn't know it had got that bad. And I went home that night, and it was the first time, not externally, my life wasn't broken externally as much, but internally, my whole world was just, that was it. I was gone. I didn't care. I didn't want to get high anymore. I just wanted to kill myself. Drugs were doing nothing for me anymore. They weren't making me happy. All my friends, I didn't have any. I just had people I used with. And it was just, I just didn't want to be alive anymore. And I just felt so guilty. I just felt so ashamed. And I got home that night after telling my parents, and I locked the door, and my mum was banging for ages, and she came in, and I thought she was going to come in and scream at me. And she just opened the door, and she just looked like I'd never seen her look before. And she just looked empty. She just looked really, really empty. And I laid down on my bed, and she came over, and she sat next to me, and she pulled up my sleeve, and I tried to pull my sleeve down, and she just pulled up my sleeve, and she looked at my track marks, and she just cried, and then she kissed my arm, and she looked me in the face, and she said, "I'm so sorry I let you down, Mother. I'm a failure." And it was at that point, I felt so selfish, and I didn't care. I didn't give a fuck anymore. I just wanted to be clean. I just wanted a different life. I just felt so bad that this woman blamed herself, for my destruction of all my using. And that's what happens. That's where drugs take me. They take me to a really shit place. They just hurt everyone around me. I can't keep my word. I can't be responsible. I'm just nothing. I'm just a liar, and I'm a cheat. And I destroy everyone. And I try so many times to get people to believe in me, and I just let them down every time because I can't stick to my word because the addiction in me, it doesn't matter. I just have to use it at all costs. And it was at that point I just cracked, and I left the room, and I used after that. I used after that, and about a week later I got into rehab, and just switching the time, and it was in rehab that, my mum's driving me to rehab, and I get to the rehab place, and I had put myself in there, and I felt so ashamed. I just didn't want her to help me get the bag out of the car. She was trying to help me, and she walked me into this rehab, and I just felt so ashamed. And I get into this rehab, and I go in, I get checked in and stuff, and I'm in this room, and I think, you had all the answers, didn't you, mate? You knew everything. You were always right, you had all the answers. Well, here you are, look how much control you have. You're sitting in a bloody rehab, you've dropped out of school, you're a drug addict, and the next day I, lined up at the counter to get, your Valiums and Tamaz and all your good stuff in rehab, and, this is day one, and I you get it in a little cup, and they watch you, and I flipped it to the back of my mouth, and I went straight to the back into my room, into the bathroom, and I was in the bathroom, and I took it out, and I had it in my hand, and I just called myself in the mirror, because obviously I was going to keep them all and then take them all in one hit, in a few days' time. And I thought, what are you doing? You're here, to turn your life around. What do you do? Just for once in your life, just try. Just try, just for once in your life, don't be so effing selfish. And so I took them, And it was hell. Like, I hated rehab. I hated absolutely every minute of it. I lied in bed probably every night, and I used to think, like, what the speed limit was on the main road, and think, like, if I could just get outside, and if I could get up on a tree and jump the road, like, I might be able to run out and get hit by a car. But knowing my luck, like, I'll probably break every bone in my body, and I'll still be alive, and I'll be a quadriplegic, sitting in some shitty hospital with no window for the rest of my life. And so, I didn't. That kept me in bed. Because I just thought, like, if I tried to kill myself, I'd fail that, like I failed everything. And, after that, like, I got introduced to Narcotics Anonymous through that rehab, and I took a clipboard to my first meeting. I was going to write all the answers down to life and never see you again. I walked in, someone saw me with a clipboard and said, "What the fuck? You need to hide that before everyone thinks you're crazy." And I was like, "Well, obvious, I'm here with you." So, I hid it. And I thought that would be my only meeting, and here I am, about 8 years later, still doing the things. But I don't take a clipboard, I can assure you. It was from that moment onwards that I surrendered, and I just basically dived into Narcotics Anonymous. I got out of rehab after a 28-day stint, and I did everything I could. And for some reason, I just thought that, I put down the drugs and my life would miraculously be amazing. My family would now trust me. And, it'd just be great. I'll get a nice house with a nice picket fence, and I'll have a nice degree, and, it should be apples. And none of that happened. Like, none of it. I hated early recovery. I didn't have a honeymoon phase. I hated it. I thought I was too young. Everyone used to come up to me and say how good it is you got here young. And I'd just be like, "You bastard." Like, I got the short straw here. But I just kept coming back, and I did the recommended things as best I could. I quit smoking in rehab because I thought I'll just make it as hard as possible. So that was a good thing for me, because I didn't sort of hang out the front of the meetings. I sort of, came in, I got told to sit at the front, I sat at the front, I got told to stick with him, and I tried to stick with him as best I could. I got a sponsor, I got told to do the steps. I kind of just did the 1, 2, 3 walks for about 2 years. Because what I realised was I had no idea how to live life on life's terms. And for the first couple of years of my recovery, all I did was build an external life that I thought was amazing and was the life you're meant to have. I got a good job, I got the perfect boyfriend, I built a relationship back with my family, but the problem was I didn't do an inventory, I didn't get past my third step, and all I did was try and build this external world, and it was so exhausting. It was absolutely exhausting. I basically, because I looked at my stuff, I just was running on, this sort of self-control. I had to be this perfect person. I wasn't allowed to be angry. I wasn't allowed to, have fears. I just had to, bottle it up and press on. And, I had no idea how to, handle relationships with people, how to handle conflict. I used to think, well, if you just weren't angry, you didn't get angry at me, then I'd be okay. If you just liked me, I'd be all right. If Mum just, forgave me for that, we'd be sweet. And it sounded a lot like, if I could just get, my dealer turned up on time, I'd be okay. And if, the cops weren't on that street, I wouldn't have got pinched. And what I realised was that I was acting out my addiction, in recovery, really. I was acting out the part of me, and I thought that if I put down drugs, I wasn't an addict anymore, I guess. I thought that, if I put down drugs, this disease was also, put down. And that wasn't the case, because I started to learn that the disease in me is, my thinking, my behaviour, the way I interact with people, the way I perceive the world. That is, my addiction. And, I am who I am. I'm never going to be anyone else. I'm not going to think the way that other people think naturally. I'm not going to, just do the right thing naturally. I'm just not. But what I can do is I can make a decision to how I will my life over on a daily basis. And I can make a decision to, be honest with people. And that's what I did. I worked with a sponsor. I shared, I did my 4th step. I shared absolutely everything about my life, all my secrets. I laid them out on the table, and I hated it. Like, I was really, really scared, and I didn't want to do it. And but I didn't want to go back to the life I had, and I didn't want to stay clean, but not be free, because I wasn't free. Like, I had to be. The expectations I had on myself were suffocating. Like, I just had to be perfect, and my boss had to love me, and I couldn't piss people off, and I couldn't be human, really. That's what I'm saying. I had to get clean and not be human. And, I had to learn to live again, and by opening up to a sponsor and other people, I had to get humble, and I had to take criticism, and I had to take guidance, and learn that I didn't have all the answers. And to this day, I still have to be humble, and I still have to do that stuff. Because it's not worth it for me. Like, I know what happens, when my life becomes unmanageable. I don't have to use to go insane. And all I have to do is start, acting on my defects, treating people the way I don't want to be treated, treating people the way that I don't, whatever. And, basically being shit to people, not considering other people's feelings, starting to become really self-seeking again. And before I know it, like, the consequences are that, I start to feel guilty, I'm really disconnected from people, my life becomes unmanageable, and the answer for me, if my life is unmanageable, is to pick up a drug. That's my answer. That's what I do. If my life is unmanageable, I don't have the power, I use. And, today I have to do everything I can to work this program in every area of my life. And, it's all good to just do meetings, but it's more than that, and, at about 2.5 years clean, a girl came up to me and she asked me to sponsor her. And I said yes, because I didn't know how to say no. And I went home and I thought, shit, like, I can't sponsor this girl. Like, I can't do it. Like, and I just hear my sponsor's voice going, God doesn't give you anything you can't handle. And I just remember thinking, like, someone needs to contact God and tell him he's got it wrong. Like, I can't do it. And then I thought, the only fucking person who needs to be in contact with God is probably me. And, and through that, like, I got to know myself through working with this person. I became someone, I suddenly, had a responsibility towards this girl, and I became someone that she could trust. The best thing that I've done for that person is show her that she could trust me enough with her secrets in her life so that she could get to know herself. And, working with her, being responsible, telling her I'm going to be at a certain time, self-discipline, not bailing out on her, all those sort of things, allowing myself to be vulnerable with her so she can be vulnerable with me, all that stuff has just taught me, priceless. And recently she just celebrated 5 years back home, and amazing. Like, I met that girl when she was 15 days clean, and I've watched her whole life change, and my whole life's changed here. When I came here, like, I just thought I'd get my life and it'd be a little bit fixed up, and you give it back to me with a few band-aids, and I got a brand new life today. Like, I have a completely brand new life. I came in here about 15 kilos less than what I weigh now. I was 18 years of age. With a needle in my arm and absolutely gone for all money. I had no relationships for the rest of my life. My dad didn't visit me at rehab at all. We had a really rocky couple of years in recovery. To now, like, I've recently found out my dad's Facebook is basically me. He just has me plastered all over his Facebook because he's really proud. My mum just left yesterday. She'd just been over visiting me, and, it's been amazing to have her over here. She had a 60th birthday, and I was able to plan this surprise trip to Turkey, like, just being able to do things for people, being able to be a good human, and get joy from that. It's like genuine joy, like, from being able to have relationships with people. And, the program, the steps, people in these rooms, like, have completely changed my life, have completely changed my thinking. And it's not always like that. I have shit days, like, I act on my defects, like, I take them back and, I play around, and then I get in pain and I go, stuff this. But it's like a gym, like, if you go to gym and, you work out, you can't just stop doing it. Like, and think you're going to stay ripped. It doesn't work. Even if you just take protein shakes, it doesn't work. You still have to go to the gym. Do you know what I mean? Like, and And it's kind of like this, if I just stop, or just do little bits of it, like I just sort of do a meeting here and there, and I, slack off, and, I start to not go and I make excuses, like, I'll start to be disconnected and I'll become weak, in myself. And then like a gym, when I go back, it'll be really fucking painful. And it's like trying to do, if you haven't done inventory in a while, you do an inventory, that shit sucks, like, when you don't do one. And I try and do daily 10s just because, not because I'm a good A, like in NA, just because I don't want to do a massive fourth. But, now, it's just about, carrying this, in all areas of my life and in and out of the rooms. Before I came to Narcotics Anonymous, I was really, really bad at handling stress. I used to fly off the handle, and I was really, really bad at, having a plan or having some sort of structure. And now I work in emergency medicine, and it is really, really stressful. And and I have to do things in my job like I do in this program. I have to put things in place. I have to. I can't just show up to work like tired. I have to make sure that I get an early night, if I'm on an early shift. I can't just stay up all night and, and not go to bed. Like, I have to be responsible. I have to turn up to my shift, and I have to, I've got other people to think about. I have to do the best I can. I have to work, honestly. I have to, do what I think is right at all times. And if I make a mistake, I have to get someone to tell them. You know what I mean? I have to be honest with them. I have to learn from my mistakes. And I have to be easy on myself. Like, I can't be hard all the time. I don't get everything perfect. And, and I have to do stuff like this. This is the first chair I've actually ever done in the UK. And the first meeting I ever did in the UK was at the London Convention. So I like to do things small, obviously. But, it's just about coming here and putting myself out there. I'm still relatively new to the UK. But you know what? This is who I am, and I don't care. Like, I'm happy to sit up here, and I'm happy to be honest. And I'm nervous. I'm uncomfortable. I don't, it's hard to say, things and talk from your heart sometimes. But I do that because when I was new, someone talked from their heart, and it inspired me. And I have a life that I never ever could have dreamed of. And my mum, has a daughter that's not dead and not on the streets. And it's amazing to see all the seats filled here, because every seat filled in here tonight is one person not out there right now using, and that's amazing. It's one parent who's not worrying about their kid, or a child not worrying about their mum because they're here, and they're clean. And I am such a grateful member of Narcotics Anonymous, and I found it really, really difficult adapting over here. I thought it'd be really easy to come over and, mix in the fellowship, but I found it tough. And the only thing I've been able to do is try and get connected as much as possible, offer to do chairs, try and speak to newcomers, and just keep coming back, really, isn't it? It's about the basics, it's about keep coming back. And because I'm, a grateful addict. Like, this place is literally, like, giving me a brand new life. And I owe it to people in this room. And if you're new here, all I'd recommend is, sit in the front, try and listen, just keep coming back. Like, if you hate it, keep coming back. If you love it, keep coming back. Try and stick with the strength. That's all I did. I just tried to stick as much as possible with the strength. And, and I've learnt, even just this year, just moving over here, like, I've learnt so much, like, about myself. I continue to learn and continue to try and be humble. I have had to come here and sit in meetings and feel vulnerable again. And for, I've just celebrated 8 years last week, and, be 8 years, but be really vulnerable and not know anyone is really, really overwhelming and really, really daunting. Because when you're a newcomer, like anyone, you can put your hand up and everyone knows you're new and everyone kind of comes and sees you and stuff like that. But when you kind of got time up, it's harder to, I find, it's difficult to sort of connect into those groups because people, all have their groups and know people and their cliques, and I've just got to keep coming back. I've just got to keep doing, what I'm doing, because, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this, and this is more important to me than anything in the world. And I was told when I came to Narcotics Anonymous that anything in front of my recovery I'll lose. Absolutely. Anything I put in front of my recovery I'll lose. And it took me like a while to get that. And, but today, this is where I need to be. And, I thank everyone for coming in tonight. And if you're struggling, just keep coming back, hang in there. And thank you very much for having me.
I'm Serena, I'm an addict. Anyway, okay. I feel a bit anxious, actually. I don't know why. But, anxious. Anxious is one thing that I have. I always had anxiety kind of thing. And I guess it's to do with being vulnerable. Sharing is about, rather I can sit here and talk about and lecture on the step, or I can just be very real, because that is the sort of share that I love in recovery, that I love to hear. People that speak from the heart, not the head, because I can't connect with that. So it's what I'm trying to do, connect with myself. But I don't want to cry, and I don't want to be emotional, but I'm going to. I'm celebrating 24 years of recovery last week. 24 years is a long time for me, and I was at home, and I was every year, when another year, I'm blessed to have another year, I kind of reflect a little bit, I reflect on my recovery, I reflect on myself, and I reflect about life and everything. And one of the things that I really struggled with through my recovery is one of the spiritual principles, which encompass all, really, is acceptance. I was thinking about acceptance. But before I talk about that, I want to welcome, especially Andrew, newcomers here, and I've been where you've been. I've been here for 1 year. Okay, I'm 24, but, I've been one day clean, and it was horrifying, because I was so fearful, so panicking, so I couldn't understand, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. I just, stopped using, and I didn't know how to live. And the whole thing, it was such a mountain of thing to climb that, it was very scary. And I just let go, and I just allowed this fellowship to carry me, This fellowship, people in here, carried me, and it carried me because they understood where I was. They knew how to, carry me, and bit by bit, bit by bit, and then we're here. I am here, and so I want to thank you, my sponsors, the fellowship, the 12-step program, because the 12-step program gave me an amazing philosophy, new philosophy of life, that I probably had deep down in my soul anyway, because I wasn't a bad person, And even when I was using, and I was trying to be spiritual, I was eating health food shop thing, like organic, and I was thinking like getting stoned and high, I was reaching the gods of the universe. And that's true. I was looking for spirituality, but I was looking in the wrong place, obviously. And but the intent, my nature really, it was driven by that. It was driven by peace of mind, by kindness, by nature, that sort of thing. But obviously, the drug turned me into the opposite of myself, the total opposite. And I became insane. I spent time in hospital, psychiatric unit. I ended up in prison. I became a very, very successful criminal for a while, and then I hurt my daughter, which is the significant person in my life that I love. I love her very, very dearly. She's 31 now, and I hurt everything that was around me, when I was using. So the first contact really with acceptance, I didn't know the meaning of it, was when I accept that I was powerless over drugs. You know, the drugs control my life. Heroin and cocaine and all the rest, the tablets, drink wasn't my thing, and crime was my thing. You know, all the compound of stuff together control my life and progressively go worse than worse than worse until I remember the last picture. I was scrolling on my floor, which was full of holes because I removed the piece of wood that was there, and I was hiding these rocks. And I was scrolling on the floor, thinking that I had a rock there and a rock there. You know, on my own, behind the curtain, with the child that was sleeping in a cot downstairs. You know, there's the picture. That is the freaking picture. And, you know, but the drug didn't work. The drug did stop working. Well, they never work, but they work a little bit. But at the end, they didn't work. I was miserable as hell. I was empty. So I came into this fellowship totally desperate, ready to stop using, but not ready to live. You know, I wanted to die, really. I thought, no way. You know what I mean? Okay, I live without drugs because this kill me anyway. I'm killing myself little bit by little anyway. I'm too coward to commit suicide. I just kill myself little by little. This is the addiction thing. So, and then I just kind of, you know, found myself there, and this fellowship rescued me. A member in this fellowship rescued me, actually, and helped me out. So, you know, I got powerless. I know what that means, being powerless over drugs. The drugs control my life, my spirit. I didn't have no spirit left. I could do anything, you know, to go and get the drugs, you know, against me. You know, I could have my legs hanging off, you know, I would go and travel, you know, the country to get a 10-pound bag, you know, forget my leg. Do you know what I mean? So I was in total grip of this control. So, you know, the only way I accept the powerlessness is because people help me to break the denial, because even if I knew that, I had to see it written down. It was coming, bouncing out of my eyes, the consequences that I did to myself and to the few people, because there was nobody left around that I love. You know, and by doing the step one, obviously, I understood the powerlessness. I understood, Serena, this is what you become. You know, this is what you do. And so the first acceptance was the powerlessness. And the step two, at the other level of acceptance, is accepting that when I was using, I was insane. Well, we know that. I'm not going to go to all the spiel. Obviously, I'm puking in the toilet. You know, I spend all my life in the toilet, most of my recovery in the toilet. I could have gone to, you know, Timbuktu and look at the mountains. I wouldn't. I would be in the toilet. And so, you know what I mean? The thing is that I'm not insane, but if people ask me, are you right? Of course I'm okay. You know, you spend your life in it, you're okay, puking and this and that, all the things, you know, we know what's happening. And, you know, but in recovery, as a recovering addict, we're not using, I still need to be restoring sanity on a daily basis, because my thinking is, I have a desire to distraction. I have a desire to chaos. I want instant gratification. You know, I want to have a buzz. You know, I want to have a buzz. I want to be high. So this normal life, waking up in the morning, you know, every day, you know, on and on, I'm not built like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm built for a bit of a chaos. And over the years, I caused myself so much chaos, unnecessarily chaos, just for the chaos. But I didn't know, you know, not purposely. I thought, I can't chaos. It's because this is who I am. You know, that I'm not just an addict, I'm also another person. Yeah? But this addict thing, when it's powerful, want that chaos. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's in my thinking that manifests, I can distort reality. I can distort reality to the point of insanity. So, the fact I've done the step 2, the first I'm clear here, doesn't mean that my brain is restored to sanity. Is maybe not insane as it was, but is destructive. Just by a thinking, an obsession that come into my mind, I can ruin weeks and weeks and weeks of my life, because of this stuff that's happening here. So I accept that I'm an addict and I'm powerless over drugs. I accept that I have a disease that is in my head, the way I think. And the third level of acceptance is that, you see, I need a new management. My sponsor used to say, Serena, you need a new management. Because I think I control everything, my destiny and everything. And then divorce, I ended up in hospital to have a surgery, very severe one. Then, people die, friends in recovery disappear, job, money, I'm talking about reality of life, things that happen, challenges that happen, illnesses, physical, this and that, things that I have to manage, my OCD, which is another mental health that some people have, other things. All of these, it's okay to tell my will and my life of the care of God when everything's sweet, but, when things hit the fan, man, life, like everybody else, not just addict, we are human beings, everybody else deal with that. What we do, we inject, 2 grams of heroin. Other people just sit with the feeling, get on with it, whatever. We don't do that. So to actually master that, I need to have something that's higher than me, that I can feel that it will pass. I forget that when I'm in pain, and I've been many times in pain in recovery, things pass. And I have to tell myself, but if I don't have a spiritual dimension outside this self of me, then I can't do it. Then I feel I can't cope. And when I say I can't cope, I don't care. That, those words, I don't care, I can't cope, fuck it, excuse me. That is the core of my addiction. That is the words I remember when I was in extreme distress, in a desperate state. And I always listen, they're like traffic light. When Serena said, I don't care about this, I know that is the world, the core of where my addict is kind of feeding. And my addict feed on emotional stuff, because I use, because I didn't want to feel. I just want to feel high. I don't want to feel anything else. I don't even want to relate to this world. I come with a script in this world that the world is hostile. People are this, nothing worse, very negative, for whatever reason, not just because I'm an addict. But so for me to change that, I need to have some loving things up there that I need to trust, that I can say, well, is this helpful, Serena? Is this way of thinking helpful, And then you're moving on, to step 4, which is the acceptance of myself. The fact I'm an addict is one thing, but also I'm a person, and we're all different here. We come from a different culture, different upbringing, different things. We got that in common, but we don't have everything in common. And my journey in this recovery business, with step 4, I find out who I am, and I keep on finding who I am. I've done a lot of step 4, not just one. And there are patterns that I have that I need to really be aware of it, because those ones tip me over. They tip me over, they make me very unhappy, make other people unhappy, and I can become a monster to humanity, And one of these is I tend to, I'm recovering because I was forced to be a Catholic. I'm recovering from that one. I'm recovering, and no disrespect to any Catholic, please, don't take it personal, but I had to recover from it. I recovered from serious of sexual abuse. I'm recovering from addiction. So I'm not just recovering from addiction, and sometimes these things get together, and they affected my life. And with work in the step, I was able to deal with lots of other aspects of my life, But I mean, the patterns is the one I've got. I'm a chronic control freak, perfectionistic, and I am. I can go to the victim mode, like where I think all my life, yes, see, I lost my job. Well, millions of people lose their jobs. There are 3 billion people unemployed. But me, I lost this and I lost that, and this, a divorce. Well, how many people divorce? And it become this kind of thing. So I need to be really careful with this. Pattern is always there. Trying to because if I go down, if I allow myself going down to this core thing, I want to use. This is why I'm doing all this work, because if I go too down, man, I'm going to use. I'm not going to see anything else. I'm not going to sit with all this grief. No way. I'm going to sit with all this grief. I don't want people sitting with the grief. I don't know. So I need to kind of, check myself. But then the harder thing was for me to accept that actually I'm an amazing person. An amazing mother, an amazing professional person, people love me, and all these beautiful things started myself. Actually, it was harder than accept the pattern of distraction. These are more fascinating. About to be, nice, but, and all of that. So step 4 is the acceptance of me, whatever, is this, is that, is bad, or whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's bad or good, it's just what it is, And the 6 and 7 is about the character defect and the shortcoming. I mean, I came into the recovery, I thought I didn't have any, like most people. And I thought I just was bit like, anger. Anger or sadness. Feeling, anger, sadness, character defect, what are you talking about? Me, pride is the bigger one of mine. False pride, would I want people to see really who I am at the beginning? No, I pretend to be somebody else. Would I wanted to tell people, please help me? No, because that was equal, you're weak. You're weak, you're vulnerable, people are going to take advantage of you, love, hurt, and all this crazy stuff, I don't know where they come from. Well, I know where they come from, but they're not real. And then self-centeredness, because, obviously I want to control, because when I control the world is like that, like this keyring, they're all like this, somebody come there and kind of move my world, and it's a matter of, becoming humble, open-minding, all this beautiful world, which I have to work very hard. Because I tell you, when I work on that, actually, I feel much better. When I'm caught up in this thing, I don't see anything. And everything, it touches us and attracts negativity, basically, So it's like, the character defect, I had this and I have that, then this one go, and then the other one come back. I don't remove it. The fellowship remove it. The love of the higher power remove it. I don't have the power of removing, because when I am into the kind of things which is driven by fear, is all about fears, The fear, I become really arrogant. Why? If you look underneath, because I'm envious. You got so many things, and I don't have it. Why do you have it? It's all that kind of, the more you work on the step, the more I realize what is that. Is the fear is about letting go the fear. And today I could say I don't have many fear. Today I can say most of the time I have peace of mind. Today I can say if I go on to the character defect and I'm locked into this, somebody will tell me, usually my sponsor, Serena, where are you? What are you doing? This is self-centered. This is arrogance. And I go, oh, no. But, it's true. So I remove it. And, okay. Amend, I made all my amends so far, except for some, I used to be a criminal. I work in lots of institutions, from social service, youth service, probation service, prison, blah, 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 recovering houses, blah, blah, blah. And I made a lot of the amend in that with that. And the bigger amend, I made it to my daughter, because I've been 24 years in recovery. She had a clean and sober mother, but not just that. She's got a mother that's got a lot of depth, knowledge of emotional stuff. And I've been able to be there as a parent, like beyond what parents do. And she recently split up with her boyfriend, and she was in tears. She was talking to me. And I know, I said, I wish I could take your pen away, but I can't. It's something that I am here for you, but it is, part from me giving you a hug, because I know the reality of stuff by being in hell, because, we've been in hell, so we come out of hell, so we know how the emotion, and I say, it's good that you're feeling, it's good. All this stuff, the fellowship teach me how to deal with me, and how I can deal with the world, and especially my daughter. And she's getting better, and I am there, and she knows. She says, I'm so proud of you, Mom, and you've been a great strength for me. You're my hero. I don't know, do you think I feel I'm a hero inside? Nah. I still feel that I'm 40. I don't know. Where we go, this self-esteem you was talking, self-esteem, it takes bloody ages. And honestly, it's the core of the thing. And then step 10, is about doing my inventory, daily. Do I do it every day? No. Is a good idea? No. I know when I do it, when I see it, and every day I take an inventory, and I can let go of all the stuff, and I understand what I mean, and I'm focused. Like I wasn't focusing, I went to the main toilet when I entered into this building. These things happen, you find, oh shit, because, I know, folks, I don't take stock, then my life is terrible. I'm judgmental, I'm crazy, but when I do the right thing, it works, but I'm not doing the right thing all the time, because I'm a rebel, because, and I make chaos. I like the chaos. No, I like the chaos. That like is the wrong word, but it's driven by this nature of mine, of an addict, that let's make, everything is sweet, everything is working, my daughter's fine, let's make a bit of chaos, because it's too boring. And it's crazy. And, and I think I have about 5 minutes. Step 11 is my favorite step, because I can never do it. I strive for it. I strive. The first 10 years, my recovery was about a day at a time. Then, the second part was to practice, to be in the moment. Charlie told me that. To be in the moment, waking up, you enjoying the breakfast, you enjoy what you have, even if you don't have, you don't look what you don't have, you look what you have, and, you enjoy your bath, all this, like, it seems like holistic, spiritual, different level. And it's tough, because looking after me, this is the thing. Looking after me, loving myself, and not in a stupid way, not loving myself, So internally loving myself, giving myself time, giving myself a break, be able to say no, boundary, recognize when, I'm tired, recognize when, tough stuff, but I'm ready now. I become ready now to really beginning to live my truth, to live me, to live for me. I've done the mother, my daughter is fine. I've done this and that and that. Now it's about me and about me. And it's tough for me. I know it's not as tough as Andrew that just coming to the fellowship, and I hope you can get something from it, and I don't put you off. All of these, it is an amazing stuff. And we are so lucky that we can do that, because we are very special. I don't want to sound funny, but, we are very attractive people to the world. If the bloody politician, I know we don't affiliate with them, will have the 12-step program, there will be no war, guys. There will be none of this rubbish, yeah? So what I'm saying, this program that we have is amazing for life, I'm talking about how to apply the 12-step in recovery, obviously. Because this is what I'm trying to do, to apply the step into my recovery, into my life, into all aspects of my life. So the step 11 is about a serious surrender of, people. Some people meditate, some people do this, it's up to you what you do and what works for you. For me, it's just about silence. And it's just about connecting with my conscious. My conscious got all the answer, down there. If I could just allow myself to just be honest, pure, and just connect. If I can connect every day with this, I connect with something higher than myself, and then I don't have to do anything else. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to do anything else. Because my attitude to things, even a tough one, is just going to work out. But can I really do that, master that someday? Most of the time I can't, because I'm too neurotic. And I'm too kind of, it's too nice, isn't it? It's too nice. But I get there, but what I have is the desire to get there, because I love peace of mind, and I love to be in harmony. I didn't come in recovery to be miserable. I don't come into recovery to be, in crazy relationship or stuff like that, I'm hearing, or madness. I don't come into recovery for a boss that abuse me. I'm putting, a working environment. I don't come into recovery for that. I don't want that. I recognize that. I've been there. So I come into recovery to give to the fellowship what I can, to help people, to help myself in the process, and to connect with the world, and to find me, myself. And so far I'm free. I'm so free. You might not like me, I don't care. You might like me, fine. Some people love me. I find it a bit difficult to accept love, but I try my best. Do I have a problem with intimacy? Being intimate with people still because of my issue, because of whatever. But I have the desire. And all of these, the magic is that actually I'm free. I don't have to use. I don't say I don't want to use, I'm not one of these ideas that said, the musing's been removed. No. The other day I went with a friend of mine, they were all drunk, and I thought, look at that glass of beer. Isn't it lovely? And then I thought, where is that coming from? So, are still attractive, to certain mood altering stuff that I see around, and are still attracted to certain people that look in a certain way, But the longer I stay in recovery, I guess the more I work the program, the smaller is the disease. If the more spiritual I get, the more strength I have to keep this at bay, if it makes sense. And this is why I'm doing this journey here into self-discovery. I don't know what share I'm doing. I hope it's sitting next to Charlie that I love and I adore and I have so much respect. They give me this kind of vibration of spirituality. I really mean in a good way, Charlie. I'm honored to sit next to you. And, and I want to say that spirituality is the foundation of my recovery. It's foundation that the 12 step. So people that they're indifferent and they don't connect with that sense. It doesn't matter, I made so many mistakes in recovery. I have another 2 hours talking to you the crap I've committed in recovery, and the hard time I gave myself, and the pain I caused to myself, and I have, I was doing kickboxing when I was 2 years clean. I nearly ripped my muscles all over my body, because I want to be trim like somebody, I don't know who, and then I worked myself to the ground, I became a workaholic and nearly killed me. I ended up nearly in hospital for exhaustion. This is what I'm saying, the cross addiction, how they come. I spent more money than I had, debt in the bank. All of this using, to trying to fix this kind of, I don't have debts now. I'm not workaholic, and I'm not going to the gym. But, I went through all these, what I'm trying to say, all these different things, not knowing there was just a fix. I needed a fix. Where's my fix? Where's my fix? A relationship, wrong relationship, not too many. I had a relationship that nearly killed me. Trying to make it work, something that wasn't working, and wondering why I was so unhappy. Trying to make this work. Serena, it doesn't work. And you see this, the two things don't go. But I'm going to make it work. And they nearly killed me. It's not working. It's not working. It's nothing wrong with the person. It's me. It's not a problem with the relationship. I know a lot of people talk about relationship, recovery, relationship. It wasn't to do with the other person, it's to do with me. I'm the one that opened the door to hell. And then I'm thinking, this is hell. How does that happen? Because this is hell. You open the doors and I close the door. No, let's go. Let's be more. And maybe, I've done all of these kind of things. But now I'm free. I'm single. Maybe this is why. No. No, I'm not single for choice. It's just, I want to say I'm happy. I don't need any fix outside myself to feel in peace with myself, to be happy. And I think I got 40 minutes exactly, yeah? And I thank you all for listening. I really hope I give something, especially to the newcomers. Sorry I didn't talk about the drugs and the hell, but I've been everywhere and with the hell in all form and shape. And thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Please help us improve our ranking so others can find us by putting a review on Stitcher, iTunes, or your favorite podcast index. Napod is ad-free thanks to the folks supporting the show with $1 more per month. If you enjoy listening, you can join them by going to napod.xyz and looking for the donate link. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.